Hello, Divine Ones, and thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Embodied Divinity. Let's take a deep breath into this sacred space, setting the intention to receive anything that's here for us today. I have a feeling today we're going to get pretty deep because of all of the energies that are present with not only this eclipse portal, but as we see the crumbling of so much of the world. So remember to align with your breath throughout this entire episode. Know that you are held, know that you are safe, and know that it's all in perfect and divine timing. Before we get into the nitty gritty, I have a really exciting announcement. I am stepping into a new container and inviting you to join me. It's called Advanced Alchemy. It's a 5-week mini container to really open to all of the sensations present within the human experience and alchemize them into the life of your dreams. Not only do you get this 5-week live course with me, but I'm also including my 8-week course Shadow Play, which is now a do-it-yourself deep shadow integration workshop that I recorded live last year. And you get a ton of other bonuses like my Going Inward retreat, Manifesting Abundance series, so many things. But this 5-week container is going to be so potent and so magical. And I invite you to join me. It is donation based. So if you're interested, all you have to do is comment below wherever you're listening to this or shoot me an email at info@nakailamariah.com or just reach out to me on any social media platform. I'm not creating a huge website for it or any of that. I'm just letting it be as it is. So if you feel called to enter this space with me, just let me know and we will make it happen. So without further ado, we are going to get started into whatever unfolds today. I had a big sob fest yesterday for humanity, and I laughed so hard. I decided I'm going to routinely read a passage from my book, Breathe Deep and Plan on Miracles, as we start these podcasts. And as I flipped to the one for today, it just made such perfect sense for everything that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to start us off with reading this passage, and then we're going to really dive into how to hold space for yourself and the collective as we move through this deep crumbling and transformation. So, this is passage 160 in Breathe Deep and Plan on Miracles. I asked God why. Why all the pain, the abuse, the suffering? Why the big heart and feeling body? Why can't I just shut it off and become cold? Why do I keep attracting those who wish to cause me harm? And why do I continue to hold them in love? Why does my heart feel stretched by humanity's hurts? Why do I feel such a deep call to incite change? Why can't I just let it all go? Turn a blind eye. Why do I have to care so fucking much? Why? And she said, because, Divine One, you chose to lead. You chose to walk the path so others wouldn't have to, at least not in the same way. You chose to feel, to heal, to love, and to evolve. You chose to become increasingly tender with every blow. You chose to have your heart stretched by both grief and love. You chose to master alchemy. And with that came attempt after attempt of turning the pain into pleasure. You chose to forge a path of light so others might not have to hurt the way you did. You chose to remember what you really are so you could see through the illusion and into the magic. You chose to lead the great revolution into the new earth. You chose, and you're doing it, Divine One. Keep moving forward. I've got you. It's almost over. All of this is part of the greater plan. You might not see it now, but it's all unfolding exactly as it needs to. Breathe, keep your faith, and continue to do the work. I don't know if you feel the same things I feel as I read that. It's this simultaneous feeling of both frustration and excitement, exhaustion and energy, inspiration and sadness. It's about carrying both, all that you are. It's about feeling into the lowest lows and experiencing the highest highs and not losing yourself in all of it. Right now, we are witnessing so much pain on earth. We are witnessing division. We are witnessing disasters in the United States, watching people pick up the pieces after their lives, after their towns have been torn apart. We are witnessing wars. We are witnessing manipulation. People seeing through the illusion and stepping up into this revolutionary energy. We are witnessing the most beautiful pieces of humanity as people come together to rebuild. And we're holding space for all of it. And yet at the same time, as we're holding all of this, as we're moving through all of this, there are still these old parts of society that we are still, even if it's just for a short amount of time, we are bound to these old ways of the world. These parts where even though our lives are being torn apart, things are crumbling around us, there's so much grief. Many are still expected to show up and work 40 hours a week and leave their children in schools that aren't safe. We're still meant to hold our head up high and put on these masks and step into the illusion. And it's this tearing apart, this war within each and every person. And it's up to each and every individual to choose what they are still going to energetically invest in and what they will be bound to. These ties to the old ways are breaking, one collective choice at a time. All of the atrocities that have occurred over the last decade have happened to awaken those who refuse to do it the easy and gentle way. It's like this wake-up call, this bitch slap of love, if you will, where we are being pulled, sometimes very aggressively, out of the illusion so that we can see into the truth of our own souls. And I know that it is so hard to make those big, hard choices, to take those leaps of faith that would set you free, especially when you have responsibilities and people who depend on you and bills that get to be paid. It is so hard to choose a different way. And it's honestly exhausting sometimes to choose a different way, because at the beginning of those choices, as the old begins to crumble, even more grief comes up, even more hurts come up, even more patterns are shown to you. Shadow selves show themselves, unhealed inner child awaken within your psyche. And so you're dealing with this huge emotional weight, this mental weight, not to mention the things that are happening in the physical world. And I know sometimes it's easier to step into a frequency of apathy and choose not to change. But it's even in those moments when you don't choose something that you are very clearly choosing a different way. This is a time to find your footing, to strengthen your backbone, to let out that wild howl of rage and frustration and let it alchemize all the energy in your blood and in your bones. Let your soul's cries be heard. Move the energy out of your physical vessel and into the world. Bring it down into your space of creation and choose something more in alignment with the ways of your heart and not the ways of the world. We are being asked what seems like too much right now, especially if you're a light or shadow worker that's been on this earth fighting the good fight for far too long. It can feel like carrots being dangled in front of you on a string, always there in temptation, but never actually satisfying the needs of your soul. And it can be really easy to choose to give up or go back to the ways of the world because it's easier or more comfortable, or you know how to manage it, or at least then you're not so exhausted. But my life and so many others are living proof that when you choose what seems hard now, you forge an easier path in the future. And not only that, but you help usher in this new earth for generations to come. And it feels so much better, even though there's a lot to move through, a lot to sort through. It feels so much better. It's like the vision I was just shown is like the house of a hoarder. And I'm feeling a lot of like suffocating emotions right now. Like my chest is getting heavy. Everything feels like it's closing in. And there's just all of these things, all of these old things that you're refusing to let go of. And it seems like too much, like things are piled in every corner and there's all of this garbage and there's just like, no, like, where do I start? And Source is here saying, let me help you. Let me lead you. Take one step and I will move mountains for you. And you start one piece of clutter at a time in this proverbial home, one piece, sorting and calling in support, right? If you've ever seen those shows where people come in to help organize and release stuff from these homes, you call in support. And you let go piece by piece, layer after layer. And while there's all of this muck to sort through, number one, you're never doing it alone. But number two, the moment you look around and you see this fresh, clean space, this open, expansive place of possibility, of hope, of faith once again, your lungs can expand open, your heart can open even wider, and you make room for more. You make room for you to live, to breathe, to exist. Your life is like that home right now, where everything might seem like too much. Whereas you're focused on yourself and you feel a little treadway and you open your eyes and you look out to the world and you see others crying out for help and you just want to create change. You just take one little baby step at a time in faith, knowing that as you choose one small step into the new, the universe will move mountains for you. And we talked about this last week. You might not see it immediately because all of this stuff, all of this muck has to go, has to dissolve, has to be released. And I don't like the word test, but it's like an opportunity for you to show yourself, not to prove yourself to anyone else, but as these old ways arise, it's an opportunity for you to show yourself that you deserve to choose differently, that you deserve to choose a life and actions and patterns that are in alignment with love and your highest self, and no longer these ways of the old that are creating more suffering and suffocation and patterns that keep us stuck. We live in a society currently that was built to keep us stuck, to keep us out of our power, to keep us enslaved to a system that does not have our best interest at heart. And so many have given in to this storyline for so long that as we allow it to crumble around us and choose differently, of course, it's going to be hard and heavy. We are literally sifting through the debris of the old, clearing it out and making our way into the new. This is the time to feel the fire ignited within your soul, to choose yourself from a place of love, from a place of knowing that not only do you deserve better, but so does the entire fucking world. Last night, as I was sitting in prayer and meditation, and I was holding space by all those affected by the hurricane, watching these people's entire towns, entire lives be obliterated, watching these poor animals being trapped and drowned, holding space for those in the Middle East still at war, still dying every day, living on the streets, those in the United States still living in poverty. It all kept coming in more and more and more people that were in pain and suffering. And I just said, God, haven't we had enough? Haven't we had enough of these ways, of this pain, of this suffering? Isn't it time for a collective break? For each and every soul who chose to come here to experience paradise, to experience love, unity, pleasure, and ease. And I just let my heart and energy pour out into this vision of community, of abundance, of fertile soil, of luscious greens and vegetation. And all of us living passion-filled lives, not in this corporate grind or trying to uplift and hold the vision of a capitalistic economy, but all of us truly living in oneness and unity, empowered by our own individual gifts and talents, and in love and acceptance for each and every other on this planet. And as I held that vision, I heard God say, yes, it is time, but all of this needs to be swept away. Hold the faith a little longer. Keep breathing, keep contributing, keep envisioning to this new world, and it will be. And it is so beautiful. I also witnessed and held space for so many images of communities coming together to rebuild, of people sacrificing their own safety to go save these animals that were being trapped or in danger. I watched all of these beautiful acts of kindness and service. I saw people change from the inside out in a mere matter of moments, as everything they once knew was ripped away from them, and the only thing that was left was the essence of their heart and soul. And I know it's so hard and so painful to witness so much destruction. But I truly believe that each and everything that we experience here on earth is for our greatest good and humanity's greatest good. And it's when we can keep that vision and invest in that storyline that we change the world. So, right now, if all you can do is breathe, let that be enough. If all you can do is smile at a stranger or say words of affirmation, let that be enough. Whatever you are called to do and have the capacity to step into that invests in this higher timeline, in this collective heaven on earth, do that and let that be enough. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here in this sacred space and for holding this vision of humanity, for feeling so deeply and not allowing the ways of the world to harden your heart. As always, breathe deep and plan on miracles. I'll see you Friday for a guided meditation on restoring humanity.